Boker Tov, Yom Tov, Zoharim Tovim, and Laila Tov. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, and good evening, no matter where you're at. This is Carrie, and I am going to share some things with you today. Some of this will be from the proof room, and some of this is just going to be from my heart. I had something happen to me last night that it's been a while, but when this happens to me, I wake up and I'm usually pretty trembly on the inside because I know that something significant has happened during my nighttime hours. And last night was no exception to that. The letters of light came to me last night, and they were showing me things that I felt like I needed to present to you today, and it led me on a little trail that I felt that we need to discover together. And I don't know if I'm going to do it justice or not, and I don't even know if you're going to be able to follow me. But it was based on the principle of something that the Qumran community believed in. And the Qumran community believed in a subject called angel morphism. And in angel morphism, it was their belief that an average human could go through the process of what we call becoming to be able to change their frequency enough that they could be transformed into an angel. Now, we get hung up on English translated words, so when I say the word angel, you probably picture yourself with a woman with long flowing hair and wings, or you might think of the archangels, or there's a whole bunch of imagery that comes to our mind when we hear that word. But when we begin to see and understand that everything is a frequency, that as we change and we mature, our frequency changes. That's what the whole mark of the beast is, the Kayutha, the mark of mother's love, the mark of father's love, the mark of the golden rule, the mark of unconditional love. It's all based on a frequency signature that is changed within us because we are in the process of maturation. It could also be known as ascension. But really, I like to use the word maturation because ascension also brings a lot of imagery to mind, and some people have difficulty with that. So we're just going to call it the process of maturation. So I'm going to walk through some things with you here, and then I'm going to show you some scriptures, and we can land the plane with this. And then I'd love to hear your discussions and what you think. But it's always interesting when the letters themselves come to teach me. So we started with the word that I have on the screen right here, which is just a simple kaf lamed, and it means to be whole or all. And in this we have a kaf, the letter kaf here, which is a word that has to do with your hands grasping. It also means to bend or to yoke. And in this situation, because it's spelled with a kaf pei, pei has to do with the language. Pei hey is how you spell pei. I'm probably losing some of you, but I don't mean to. Just listen to what I have to say. Some of you will grasp this. Some of you, I just want you to listen to the words. So the kaf pei means a mouth that speaks, one who has grasped a hold of, tamed and bent themselves to the language that brings revelation in order, and that's the kaf, in order to instruct them to become whole and to become all. This is totality. Then, so I understood that. I mean, this word is used many, many, many times, and actually when you see it in a form where it's a kaf lamed lamed, it means to be completed. And this is actually what Superman's given name was Kal-El. So you can see the significance of this. Then I was shown the word ikhal, which means to be able, to have power, can, could, may, or might. So the difference between those two words is now we have a yod added on front, and the yod is power, means, and direction that is given to you to one who gives generously. So now we have something that's been added, and we've shared with you before that the gematria for the yod is the same as the word kazah, to have a vision. So this is something that is given to you, and it's something that's given to you that gives you the ability to have power. But again, if you don't do anything with it, change doesn't happen without application. So you can have a vision given to you, and nothing will happen unless you apply yourself to that vision and activate it. So we still have the same Kaf Lamed, everything that shared before, but now we have power given to you. Then I had the word come to me, halak, which means to walk, literally or figuratively. Now notice something here, and this is what the letters were trying to show me last night. Now we have a Lamed Kaf. Before we had it as a Kaf Lamed, so the letters just changed place. They just changed places. But this is the same gematria, it's the same letters, same total in number, but they just flip spaces. So what is it saying to me? Well, it's saying that instruction is needed in order to grasp a hold of the language. Okay, and what does this do? Well, this is affecting our walk. So remember, I said that we had to activate it. Now we have the hey that has been added in front of this. So this means that there's a revelation that comes. It's a twin revelation. Hey, hey is actually how you spell through the constituents letters, the hey symbol. So a revelation, a twin revelation, is going to come to you in order to teach you how to grasp a hold of the languages of light and love that'll bring forth a revelation. But you have to empty out your cup first. That is why this one is in the fallen position, is that you have to empty yourself of that which you know in order to grasp a hold of that which you need to tame yourself to. Then it morphed again. Then I saw this word yalak, which means very similar to the halak, to walk literally or figuratively, but now it means to carry. To carry what? To carry a load, a burden. Well, what are you carrying? The vision and the power that was given to you so that you can be able to and have power. Interesting. Then it morphed yet again, and I saw this word, to eat. Okay, so now that I have grasped a hold of this, I'm willing to have my cup filled with the language. It's going to instruct me, but I need to eat of it. And the olive carries the meaning of one. So there's one thing that I need to eat, that I need to have, that's going to make me whole, which is the totality of all. Olive also means those who have been instructed and then they teach. It means to yoke and tame. It also means the thousandfold, or 1,000. And it also means to associate to and the family of God as the strong leaders. So I am supposed to be eating the instruction that comes to me from one who has become, so that I can tame myself to it, so I can be instructed. And I was like, okay, I'm following. And then it morphed again. But this time we now have the word malak, which means king or queen. Now I find this interesting that just the Lamed Kaf by itself, you will see this in Scripture many times, just standing alone. It won't have the hey in front of it. That'll be missing. Or it won't have a yod in front of it. And that means that it doesn't have the mem either. So again, it's instructions that come, a teacher of light, a teaching shepherd, to teach us, but we must empty out our cup in order to be tamed and yoked to the language that brings revelation in order for us to be a king or a queen. This connects Malki Zedek, kings and queens of righteousness. But now the M is the mem. The M. I get confused sometimes. I'll say the English letter for the Hebrew and vice versa. Makes me laugh. Mem is the living water teachings of Mother and Father, and we know that the mem is made up of two letters, two constituent letters that form the symbol, a mem and a mem sophit. So you don't see the mem sophit. It's hidden. That's because we have to start with Mother's teaching first. The mem sophit is the Father, but the two are one. You may not see it, but the two are one. So the living water teachings will come to you as the teaching shepherd of light in order to bring forth that which you can grasp a hold of, the language. Empty your cup. Be ready to receive. Then it took me to the word for angel. And notice the difference. Now we have the aleph that is moved on the inside. And if we were to look at these three letters here, they are the exact same as the three letters here. They're just in a different order. So now, from going from king and queen to becoming an angel, we have the living water teachings that come and instruct you in the way of one if you empty out your cup and you are willing to grasp a hold of the language that brings revelation. Because, through gematria, you need to eat it. Literally or figuratively, you need to eat it. Again, all of these letters have a frequency, and just because they're in a different order does not mean that their original intent is not there. It's just providing a different way of looking at it to say something a little bit different to you. So again, we have the living water teachings that are going to instruct you. We've also shown that the Mem Lamed is shorthand for the word mellifluous, which means honey. This is the sweetness of the word that is coming to instruct you, so that you can have oneness within you. Understanding and comprehending this at the heart level, the center of your being. This is what makes the angel morphism possible. Because you have found the way of one, it is within you, and now you can actually teach it because you've gone through it. You've been given the staff of authority, you've given the mouth to speak it, and that is why you become a messenger, specifically of God, of the oneness that you have found within. But notice this, not only is it an angel, but it's a prophet, priest, or teacher. The Qumran community understood this. Again, we get hung up on the word angel, but they knew that this was all-encompassing of a prophet, priest, or teacher, and this is exactly who the Qumran community were as the Essenes, since the word Essene actually means breastplate. Think of breastplate of righteousness. They were the Zadoks. They were the true priesthood that got kicked out during the time of the Maccabean revolt. So they created their own community of prophet, priests, and teachers. They knew that this transformation process was possible because they studied the language, the letters of light, and everyone was taught it. Man, woman, child, it made no difference. It was a thriving community, and in its heyday, there was 1 million people that lived there. We are kept from much of this information. So as I'm going along, then the word came to me one more time. And this time, same order or same letters as angel, this would be the Hebrew form of it, but now look at it. Now the letters are in a different order. We have the Kaf before the Aleph. This is one that has filled their cup, filled their vessel, hence the Dagesh, the dot that's in the middle of it. They have filled their vessel with the language of revelation. They have become one. They have been sealed in the oneness principle, having the Christ 1,000-fold anointing. They teach because they were instructed. They've been given the staff of authority, and their mouths will speak forth revelation. How'd they do it? Living Water's teachings that instructed them, because they were willing to empty their cup and grasp a hold and be filled with that which made them a queen, angel, and messenger as the priesthood. This was huge to me to follow this, to see where this was going. Because again, look, here's a Lamed Kaf Aleph, and here's Aleph Kaf Lamed. To eat literally or figuratively. Same signature frequency pattern within the word to be queen. And we have been talking about Asherah, Queen of Heaven, those that are seated on the right hand, that are the holy ones. We've been talking about this for months. So the letters wanted to show me a progression of what angel morphism looked like, and where it started and where it was ending. And I'm sure for those of you who are familiar with the letters, you can see the process of everything I went through here to show you. But I needed to take it a little bit further. I just put this in a Word document so you could see it. But then the scripture came to me this morning about, I created you a little lower than the angels. And I thought, okay, well, I need to go look this up, because for sure I thought I would see some form, either this one here, and I knew it wouldn't be in Aramaic because it was the verses that I was thinking of. Well, the one in particular was one in Psalms. So we're going to take a quick peek at this because it is very worthy to take a look at. So, here is the verse. For you have made him lower a little than angels, and with glory and honor you have crowned him. I'm like, okay, I'm on the right verse. But then I about fell off my chair this morning, because the word that they actually used for angels is Elohim. It's the word Elohim. You've made him a little lower than Elohim. But they use the word angels. Let's go to Genesis 1:1. In the beginning God created Elohim through the Aleph Tav. We've gone over this quite a few times in our teachings. But in the beginning God created the Elohim. So now we're seeing this again. We're seeing this here in this verse that I was expecting to see Malacha or Malach. But now it's Elohim. So you made him a little lower. This word means to lack or to decrease, have need, to be lacking. Here's the root of that word right here. So what are we lacking? Well, what it's telling us is the things that we need have been written on the suffix and the prefix of this word. So for those who are teachable and humble, they will learn the ways of Mother's teaching. They will be marked with her sine wave frequency change of the golden rule, the external outward orientation of how to treat people. Then we're given the Father's revelation in his teaching so that we can connect to him in meekness. So we have humility and meekness. These are the things that we are needing because we came lacking. Now we have the little word, that's appropriate, and it means little, fewness, few. All right? That makes sense. Little, fewness, and few. Trace this a little bit further. To become small or diminished. All right, so we become small and diminished. So we found out what we are lacking, what we need. We need to be marked with Mother's golden rule so that we can see the Father's revelation, which will provide us meekness and being able to connect to him and connect to her. And we have this diminished state. Now, this isn't a very active word, but because there's not a lot added to it. But what this is telling us is that it's through the living water teachings of Mother and Father that we need to fill ourselves up so that we can be given the eyes to see and have the living fountain within us. But we are going to wrestle through this process. And there's going to be few that are going to comprehend what is being presented through the sacred languages. Then we have the word Elohim. So in becoming this, the whole process is laid out here for us. But this is up to us to go through the teachings for us to be filled up. Because notice this mem has the dagesh in it. So it's been pierced and it's been filled. So that we can be restored to the process of Elohim. And this is our glory, kavod, and our honor, and our crowning. This is some serious stuff here. I was so excited when I saw this. Like I said, I woke up trembling this morning and the Spirit led me here. So they have connected to Mother. They have their heart pierced. They've grasped a hold of the language. and they are using it to build themselves. This is the Bet Tov, the 222 that we've been talking about, and they will be going through the door of their inner man to be able to find the full revelation within, because they've connected at their heart level. Honor, they have the revelation, they've gone through the door, they've been raised up from poor and destitute to become the first fruit leaders, and then they are crowned. This is big. This is big because this can deal with the crown chakra, being able to be activated in light. And how did that happen? Notice that the word that I highlighted right here is the word crown. We still have that Ein Tov, which is the same that we saw up here. So being able to see the purpose, having the fountain activated within, this is the I, through the wrestling process, raising us up to be first fruit leaders. But on the prefix, we have the Tov, and on the suffix, we have the He Vav. These are the exact same things that were added up here from what we were lacking. So that which we were lacking is the same exact thing that we are giving, which then provides us the crown. The mother's teaching, the golden rule, the revelation of the Father, and being able to connect to Him, that this is our crown of the Elohim. I don't know about you, but that is huge. So then I thought, okay, well, I better take it one more place, because I know that there's people out there that have struggled with the fact that I have said that we are gods, that we're going through the process of becoming the Elohim, or even just the word El, strong leaders teaching shepherds. But Yeshua said, doesn't even your own scriptures say you are gods? Well, let's take a look at what he was referring to. Psalm 82:6. And I said, gods you are. So we have the word Amar. I've been going into detail about that. Say, speak, tell, declare, word. What does it also say? Utter. In one's heart, promise, to be called. There's a lot going on here. So, to be called. Those who receive the mark of the Father's covenant, His sine wave frequency of unconditional love, being given the power of the right hand of the Father, the ones who give generously are the Elohim. You, through the Aleph Tav, the first letter, the last letter, the beginning, the end, the Alpha, the Omega, Tom, through the twin covenants, we've gone over that before in previous teachings quite extensively. You are children, and this is Benai. This says you are my children. I said you are my children. You've connected to Mother, you've spiritually built yourself through the 222, you've taken the spiritual path, and now I've given you the power of my right hand. Elyon. Very interesting on this word, because this is the word that means to ascend and to be the highest. Given the power of the right hand, connected to Father while you are in the flesh. Children of the Most High, while in the flesh, in the earth, you are, all of you. And look, we are back to the Kaf Lamed, which is exactly what I started with this morning, that I was showing you, that came and presented itself to me last night. This is one who is completed, and they're full. Look at that. There's a Dagesh in the Kaf and a Dagesh in the Lamed. This is a doubling effect. These are two twin teachers of light that have become one. And notice that it's right in the middle between a Kaf and a Kaf. So we have the pattern of the cherubim here on the Ark of the Covenant, that are the teachers, the mothers and fathers that are going to be raised up, and we have the Lamed right in the middle, teaching of light, the two that have become one. And it ends with the final Mem, which means now you are out of the waters of chaos. This is a completion of Father's teaching in the waters set above. This is really, really big, but I have yet a little bit more to share with you. I'm going to show you two words in this verse, and this verse could actually be broken down a lot further. But the Spirit took me to this verse as well. We have been talking about the servants of the Son. And here is the word, it also means ministry, those who serve and their ministry and what they do. But it's the same exact word for son, shemesh. And I know that Ken and I have been discussing this. And notice that on the front side of the word shemesh, we have a tav. This is mother's mark of her covenant. And then we have the tav on the father's side, which is the mark of his covenant. And we have the sealing of becoming one, the thousandfold Christ anointing. So those who minister that are of the Son will have two frequency changes. They will have met the golden rule, and they will have become unconditional love, and they will be sealed in this as becoming one. I and my Father are one. And it was given, the very last word of this is the word to give, Yahav. So what were they given? They were given the language, the Aleph through the Tav, so that they could be marked with the twin covenants, the mark of the Kayutha, those who have a different frequency. And how did they do it? They went through the language. The first letter, the last letter, the beginning, the end, the Alpha and the Omega. Right here, the Elohim, Et, of the Hashamayim. The Aleph through the Tav, I am the first, I am the last, I am the beginning, and I am the end. There's a lot going on here this morning, guys. I am shaking and trembling. But this is the one that I wanted to end with. For it was not to the angels he was subjected, the world, which is future, of which we discourse. Confusing. King James says, For unto the angels hath he not put in subjection the world to come, whereof we speak. Two things, and I'm going to land the plane. But I want to show you this here. The Lamed Aleph. This would be read as not, but we don't see it that way, because we see this as the instruction of one, a teaching shepherd of light, coming and teaching the way of one, to those who would breathe, to those who would have the desire, to those who would have the exhale and the inhale that are connected at the heart level. This is all spirit-filled language here. And it's to the ger, to the sojourners who have been given power within them, placed at their heart level. And look at this. This is the word for angels. But this is also malakha. Now we have the word for angel and queen, but now it's the marrying of the two, because now we can see that we have the Aleph now in the middle and on the end, and it's a Lamed added in front. So these are teaching shepherds of light who have come as priests, as teachers, as prophets, who've grasped a hold of the language. They have the oneness within, and they're sealed on the oneness without. They have the Christ anointing. Here's the word that means to serve. And look at what we have added on front, the sheen. This represents fire. This is the seraphim, the angel messengers that come as light, that are the burning ones that come to serve. And they come to serve the world. And so this right here, this is the word for time. The time is at hand for those who go through the door into their inward man. They are going to be given the eyes to see the covenant, and they will be of the hand that gives. This is how you spell the yod. This is the word for ascension. Ein Lamed Hey. Again, going through the door of their inward man, given the ability to see the purpose, the fountains of living waters within that have instructed them. They are pierced within their hearts. They are given revelation and power. This is the ascension process. And then we have the word to speak or a discourse. And normally in its root it's just mem lamed. And this is connected to honey. But now we have two mems, two lameds, if I can highlight it, and two nuns. This again is the pattern of the cherubim on the Ark of the Covenant, the mother and the father that are bringing forth their teachings, the two twin teachings of light that will instruct you, that will show you the activity of life that you need to take, the seed of life, that which will propagate you, that which will produce heirs if you take the spiritual path within your flesh suit in the material world. Power, means, and direction will be given to you on the Father's side in order to make this happen. This is really big. And the very last thing that I want to establish with you guys is that if we go back to this beginning list, I went and looked at this word right here, and there's 192 occurrences of this, and over 90% of the time, this word, in what as it is written, has a lamed aleph within it, which means not, to not be able. But again, that's not what it's saying to us. All of this can happen. The power can be given to you. It could, it may, or it might, if, lo, a teacher of light will come to you and teach you and instruct you in the way of one. Then you will have the power to finish the journey and to become all, so that you can then become the angel messengers that are also of the Elohim. And I guess I'll share with you one last verse because the Spirit led me here too. And it's just so profound, the revelation this morning that's pouring out like a fire hose. Actually, I think I'm sitting on a geyser. But the word gam, and this will make more sense to you too, the longer you're with the teachings. This is the beginning part of Gimel, of the symbol Gimel, which is the third letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And in original, in Paleo, it means to gather or to assemble. So we are to gather and assemble the silver, and gather and assemble the gold. Silver is related to Mother, and it's connected to the moon. Gold is related to the Father and connected to the Son. The lesser light and the greater light, we are to gather those. Then we have, remember I said that 90% of the verses of the word yakol, to be able, have the lamed aleph. This is a conjunctive dash, so this means that teacher of light is going to come and teach you the way of one so that you can be able. And this shows that this heart has been pierced, because that is within the center of the root of the word. Be able, the power, the teacher will come to teach you, to give you the power of how to deliver. The root of this word has a nun in front of it, natsal, but the nun is not here. So this is a complete spiritual deliverance. And notice, it's a lamed hey on the front, teacher of light, that brings forth revelation, the completion of the waters above. And we have the word has a diamond. This has to do with quadration, which I just recently released a teaching on what quadration is. And that also means gift from God. In the day that they have built themselves through the Bet Tov, what have they built? Love. The wrath. This is not the word wrath. This is the word to mean crossing over. Crossing over. The day of crossing over for those who have built themselves Bet Tov, that are marked with the Father's frequency of unconditional love. They went through the pattern of Mother's teaching and Father's teaching, from Hayah, to be, to become, the twin revelations that were connected together, that gave them the power to become. And what do? They built themselves of fire. This is this verse right here shows us crossing over to become the seraphim, from those who built themselves from the process of the 222, the bet through the tav, and they did it as they were humble and teachable. Jealousy, very bad translation. This word also means to be zealous, to have sexual passion, which means we're talking about a very deep possession or a passion of intimacy here. Zeal. And look at, I'm going to take you to the root of this, and we are going to land the plane, I promise you. Jealousy or envy, again, it's not that. We're going to take it all the way back. Zealous. Kuf, Nun, Aleph. To be zealous. Here's the root, and what do we have? We have the tav added on the backside. And if you go into Ezekiel where it says to mark them on their forehead, do not touch those whom have the mark. This is how that is written. The literal written word for mark in that Ezekiel chapter is tav vav. This is the mark of the beast, of the kayutha, that is not to be touched. And what did they do? They compressed light within them in the circle of time, finding the narrow path between the light and the dark, that which was once hidden now revealed to them, the spiritual path that they took through the Aleph Tav, through the language, the first and the last, the beginning and the end, the entire language of creation, and they have been connected to Father. He has zeal for them. They are zealous for Him. And they ate. They ate. They had the mark of the mother and the mark of the father, because they ate what they needed to complete themselves, to become whole, to become of the entirety of the land. Haaretz. They will be revealed as the mothers who have come filled with the language, filled with the power. They've grasped a hold of it. They've been given the power of the right hand, and they give it. And look at this. This says riddance. This is also the root or the meaning of the word bride. This is one of the words that means bride. And we have the Kaf Lamed again that has revelation. Almost done. Speedy. So this means there's a lot of hastiness here, and this means nervousness and anxiousness, but I always see it as being in a positive light, and the reason why is because it's Bahal. I did a teaching on the Bet Lamed, and the Bet Lamed is the word for heart, one that is anxious. But a resolve has come. There was revelation that was put within this anxious heart to make a quick, speedy work for those who would choose to take the spiritual path. That revelation would be given to them within their heart. Think about Abraham. Abram became Avraham. And they were given the Father's revelation. He will make Asa, giving them power to be able to see the fire, to see the revelation through the Aleph Tav, to complete them. Yesav, to dwell in the land. Yeshav, this also means to settle and marry, to cause to dwell, to be inhabited, to be married. Shuv, for those who have turned. They've been given the power of mother, and they've been given the power of father in the Aretz. They will be revealed as those that have or, that have light, that did the hunt and chase and wait, a desired journey while they were in the material world, and they will be as those who are married. This is big revelation stuff, you guys. I know I covered a lot, but oh my gosh, the silver, the gold, the Elohim, the angels, the messengers, the kings, the queens, and how do we start out in the journey? Walking through the revelation given, the power given, revelation given, to be able to walk with the load, to carry the burden of it, to eat which is necessary so that you can become. This is the process of angel morphism, to become prophet, priest, and teacher, the Zadikah, the righteous ones, the Melchizedeks. This is the process of angel morphism, and this is what was given to me last night that I just gave to you. I hope you were able to follow. If not, chunk it up into pieces, listen to it several times, ask me questions, let's have a discussion about this. This stuff is being released now, which means it's the crossover time. We entered into the age of Aquarius, and all of this is being released. And I release it over you. I hope that your spirit was able to receive it. And whatever you don't understand, ask questions. I suggest if this is touching you, start studying the letters. You got to at least learn to recognize what letter is what letter so that you can connect more to what I'm sharing with you and what Ken is sharing with you. I'm excited you're here. I'm excited for where we're getting to go into. Shalom, shalom, and namaste.